Yes, I would. All right, good day, everyone. So,
Hey everyone.
today we're starting a new podcast just to get to know some different people that are in the entrepreneurial journey. So, today I have a good friend of mine, Emilio Chouha,
Nice
where
to meet you all.
I grew up with him. So, yeah, Emil, good day.
Yeah, thanks, Gislain. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it. I live actually a few minutes from here. He called me up. He's like, this week we're doing a podcast. I'm like, sure, let's do it. It's gonna be fun. So here we are.
Nice. So, before we start about where you are today and your entrepreneurial journey, I want to know a little bit more about yourself, where you grew up.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, like, I started off. I went to my dad's store when I was like 8, 9 years old. I think this is where everything started. Like I saw, somebody pay my dad for inventory, and I'm like, this is so fun. Like you're just getting money, and if you can sell a lot of it, you'll get a lot of money. And this concept struck me early, and I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do, in my life. I wanna. At the time, my dad had electronic stores, and I was a kid of 8, 9 years old, and I was like, I'm gonna have a lot of electronic stores. Later on, I grew up to understand that the margins on electronics are not that good. You don't want to be in that business, but at the time, this is what struck me the most.
Okay, and what about school now?
So yeah, so then went to business school, did a business degree, did a lot of business stuff at school, and while we were at school, like the one of the things that we always, even in high school, like you and I were selling like electronics online. We were, go to our local Craigslist, it's called Kijiji. I don't know if it's still here around, but we would used to do ads on Kijiji, go meet sketchy people and sell them like a batch of cell phones. And at the time we were like 15, 16 years old. I think we were at some point we went to a private school. So at some point we had some business people that came to our where we had recess to buy like $2,000 worth of inventory, and like we weren't allowed to do this. Like we were the only guys doing this. So
Good days.
yeah, so we started selling electronics online. Then we did our, we had a joint website when we were like 18, 19 years old, and we started selling other types of electronics online. And one thing led to another. You went, in your path. I went into making a food app for my city for giving discounts to students at universities in my town, and here I am today and doing another type of business in crypto.
So clearly, entrepreneurial has always been part of your journey. Furthermore, it's part of your values because clearly your parents were into that field as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I always thought since I was a little kid, 8, 9 years old, my path will be in entrepreneurship. I had the end in mind. I knew this was going to be what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's the thing that I enjoy the most.
Nice, perfect. So speaking about this, what is a project that you are really passionate about?
Yeah. So right now, we're building what we call the Moken sentiment. It's essentially a way for people to have profiles of their financial holdings in crypto made public. Right now, I don't know what you own in crypto. You don't know what I own in crypto, but it would be cool to have an idea, and it's all possible theoretically because all that information is available on the blockchain. So it just takes a company that starts leveraging that information, make it public, so people could start, following what each other trades, knowing what other people hold. I think that concept should have been applied already in the stock market, but given that the information is hardly made available in the stock market, it's in the bank layers, it's hidden. It's hard to bubble it up to the surface. So people have to just trust that buy this type of stock or you're selling this type of stock. They have to trust. But in the crypto space, they don't have to trust. They can actually see that you actually bought this this token or sold this token at this price. So we're making all that information available for the people to play around with.
So what made you go into crypto? Why, like, what is a passionate aspect of you that triggered yourself to go into that path?
Honestly, it was strictly opportunistically. It was strictly an
Well, I
opportunity.
think one thing it's important for people to know is that you have a background in finance.
Yeah.
Right? So you do understand certain aspect of, well, most of the aspect in the crypto world because it's just like the same
Yeah.
thing but
Yeah.
differently.
hmm But to be frank, like really when we saw this crypto opportunity initially, like it was it just was an opportunity for us to buy hardware and sell it back to the market, and we were positioned in a place where we had a clientele ready, and we had a plug with the manufacturer, and we're like, okay, we can do a lot of money doing that, and we just did it. Really, it wasn't out of pure passion, but I one thing that I knew since the beginning, I'm like, this opportunity is so big that at some point I'm gonna be able to realign my passion and what could be done in the space. I didn't see it in the beginning. I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to see it in the beginning, but I'm like, look, we're gonna carve a position that is so strong in that market that I'll be able to decide if where I want to lead it in the next few years. And this is where we are today. Like, we carved an opportunity that's a position that's well established in our space, that we can now like be more creative in the types of project I just spoke about, like with the Moken sentiment.
So right now you are well positioned. We know like we're at the end of a bear market.
It was
right now.
harsh. It was harsh.
But I'm sure.
Yeah.
But before that, like, you talk about the initial opportunity that triggered yourself to be there.
Yeah.
What year was that? Like, when was it? How was the market back then?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about this initial opportunity?
Sure, man. This is out of a movie, to be frank. So like my buddy like forwarded me like a thing. He's like, yo, look, this miter makes like $1,500 a month, and I'm like, how much does it cost? He's like 300. I'm like, don't waste my time on this. I'm focused on my food app that at the time wasn't making any money. So I'm like, do not bother me. I'm focused on not making money at the moment, please. And he's like, no, I promise, this thing, like, you buy for 300 and you can mine like 1,500 with it. And then he kept going back and forth, and then I did my research, and I looked and spoke with people locally in my town, and they're like, it's true. The only issue is that you won't get inventory. And I'm like, what?
Small issue.
Yeah, but for me, I'm like, okay, this is a constraint that made me believe it. This is a constraint that made me be like, okay, so this is true actually. And if the issue is not getting stock, then look, I know how to work my my way around those types of things. I think I could get stock. So what we did,
because that was something you were doing at your family's business.
Yeah, just business dealing, like negotiation, contracts, win-win. Like, how do you position all those things? And I'm like, okay, fine. Well, now I believe in the opportunity. So what we did is that we lined up a few friends together, and we made a bulk order. So the manufacturer was able to look at our order and be like, oh wow, this order is bigger than all the ones I have in the queue, and you guys look like a big client, so I will probably give you the stock before everybody else. And that's how we got into it. So we got like, instead of waiting 9 months to get the stock, we got it early, and we got it so early that we started understanding how the product works, and one thing led to another, and we were able to then build a clientele of people who wanted to buy the stock from us. We weren't mining anymore, we were actually selling the stock. And we sold like a huge amount of those things. Like it was crazy. It was like having gold or something. Like, even like
the shovel.
Yeah, it was. We were selling the shovels. Yeah. But even family relatives at the time came to us and started like wanted to that had nothing to do with crypto. Uncles, my dad, like people that had nothing to do with crypto wanted to know what this was about. That was 2021. And we started selling those, we came into the peak of the bull market actually.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw like 5 months of bull, 5 months of intense sales, and then everything collapsed. Our revenue dropped from like 80-90%, within a month. And we had to like be like, okay, so what do we do from here? Do we continue? We have like, we have a pretty big reputation in the space. We could leverage it, we could manage something else. So what we did is, throughout the bear market, we changed our value proposition to something that's more niche. So we were able to like survive the bear market, and here we are today, where it's starting to pick up a little bit, and we're in a position where we can really leverage the market now that we're in a stronger position than where we were in 2021 when there was the bull market. So we survived the bear market, which is actually something that's a huge accomplishment in the space, actually, because all other companies died, literally every single one of them. So we barely survived the bear market, in all honesty. Like the plane was like collapsing in midair, like, to be frank. Yeah.
Well, at least I presume the first bull run actually allowed you to have enough money to survive this.
Well, not exactly. So that was one of the foolish mistakes. So we've never seen so much money come in so quickly. We didn't know how to do with it. We didn't know how to manage money. Like now we're more experienced about it, and now we're more responsible. But in theory, that should have allowed us to to sustain a bear market. But we were young entrepreneurs not knowing what we're like, oh, this is always gonna come every month. It's gonna be like this. So like no, like I, honestly at the time in the middle of the bear market, many times I looked up at the sky. I'm like, where did we fucking blew the money? Like where is the money? So yeah.
But at least you're still there.
Yeah.
Your competition's pretty much left.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they are not going to come back or that
Others.
there's not going to be
Others.
other players.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Others. But one thing's for sure, like 100% going forward, we're gonna be super vigilant with money. Like
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good mind state to have. So over this experience, how did your approach to work evolve over time?
So that's a very good question. It's more fun, and I'll explain why. It's because as you grow as an entrepreneur, you start, when you start off as an entrepreneur, you don't see the end in mind. You start from the front. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do this and see where it goes. But as you become more experienced as an entrepreneur, you actually know where it's gonna end. You know what's the final outcome. So working in that way, you're able to have more impact on your daily job. You see more results. And which makes it more fun. You have more control over your business daily, and the more control is actually more fun. The example I like to give, okay, it's a stupid example, but when you play like FIFA on Xbox in 1998,
Yeah.
your character had like 4 moves, and that's all you could do is 4 moves. So the fun level is like meh. But like FIFA 2023, your character, you control the hell out of him. Almost you can control his neck. I'm kidding, but like that type of control, that additional control is much more pleasurable. It's the same in business. When you start off, you have almost no control on your business. You don't understand how it works. You don't understand how to make impact. You don't understand what the hell is happening. You're just getting hit from every side. It's not very pleasurable. But over time, as you gain more experience and you're better, you learn how to mix marketing, mix sales, mix dev work, code, mix innovation, vision. When you mix all those things together and they come holistically as a complete picture, it becomes more fun. You have more control on your business. And that type of work and that type of thinking changes the way you work. It's more fun, so you can put more hours because you have more impact. The other thing that I like to say also about the way that I'm approaching work is when you're starting off as an entrepreneur, you're not in the abstraction. You're in the work itself. But as you grow as an entrepreneur, you'll be more in the abstraction. You're removed. You're removed, and you start trusting teams that actually like get the job done for you. Your job becomes to nudge them. Go a little bit in that direction. Go a little bit in that direction. But you're not involved in the actual work, and you don't exactly understand what exactly they're doing. But you, as the CEO, know where it should go. So you're gonna work in the abstraction a lot, and as you grow, you're gonna work more and more in the abstraction because you need leverage. You need leverage, and the way you have leverage is by being able to orient teams. This is one type of leverage. There's 3 types of leverage: money leverage, code leverage, and people leverage. But as you go as an entrepreneur, you learn how to at least at least how to manage one of the leverage, which is people leverage, and you're working in the abstraction.
So work on the business and not in the business.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always the thinking when you start, but you don't exactly know how to start working on the business.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the journey, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you stay long enough in the game, you'll understand how. It's not something that's gonna come. At least it didn't come for me like on day one.
Nice. I also like the metaphor with FIFA that you explained.
It's good, huh? I love it. I think it explains everything, because when I used 1998 FIFA is like meh. 2023 FIFA, you have so much control that you're like, shit, this is fun.
Sick. So I presume the next bull run is going to be very pleasant for you.
Hopefully.
You're well positioned, you have a good vision, and your team is getting better as well.
Yeah, hopefully. One thing I think that I think, yeah, just being more humble about it, even when you're successful. I think that's a thing that I'm gonna use as a go-to strategy. Just relax and try to have consistency and not to go like too high and too low, because
Nice.
yeah, we've seen both sides, and consistency is much more fun.
Thank you very much for this, Emil.
It's a
I
pleasure.
appreciate
Thank you
your
for
time.
having me. It was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do this again.
awesome. Bye bye, everyone.